Hello, my name is Nicole Hudson. I am 45 years old, former registered nurse attorney minister living in Sacramento, California. What I'm about to share with you is my testimony, an near-death experience that completely transformed my understanding of fasting, prayer, and the spiritual death. This journey revealed truths that I never could have imagined and left me with a renewed sense of purpose and urgency. It all began on September 12, 2023. I had been on a water-only fast for 7 days, something I felt deeply led to undertake by the Holy Spirit. Fasting was new to me, it had been a part of my spiritual practice for years. But this time, it was different. From the start, I sensed a supernatural weight to it, as though I was being prepared for something far beyond my comprehension. That morning, I left my house around 5 a.m. to attend an early prayer meeting at church. The streets were quiet, bathed in the soft glow of street lights. A gentle rain was falling, a rare occurrence in Sacramento in September. As I drove up, I played worship music, letting the lyrics fill the car. I felt an overwhelming closeness towards presence, as though they were sitting beside me, gently guiding every thought and breath. I turned onto my sonor runway, lost in prayer and the music, when the world around me shifted in an instant. Out of nowhere, a pickup truck ran a red light at high speed and struck my car on the riverside. The sound of crashing metal and shattering glass filled the air, and everything went dark. Later, I would learn from doctors that the impact caused catastrophic injuries, severe internal bleeding, multiple organ failures, and a heart that stopped beating for 17 minutes and 23 seconds. By all accounts, his soul not have survived. But what he experienced during those 17 minutes was more real than anything you ever know. One moment, he was in my mangled car. The next, I found myself floating around the scene. I could see everything with perfect clarity, the flashing lights of the ambulances, paramedics working frantically to stabilize me, and police officers redirecting traffic. I even saw the young man who was hit me, sitting on the curb with his hair in his hands, trembling. His face was a mixture of regret and fear. He felt no anger, no pain, only a profound sense of peace and compassion. As I held there, observing the chaos below, everything around me began to fade. A wound enveloped me, and I felt myself being drawn upward. It was as if an unseen force was gently pulling me through a tunnel of pure, living light. This light was unlike anything on earth, intensively yet soft, comforting, and alive. It radiated love and peace, dissolving every ounce of fear and pain. I became aware that I was no longer in my physical body. I felt weightless yet more alive than ever before. My senses were heightened, and I could perceive everything with a clarity and depth that words cannot fully describe. It was as though I had been blind my entire life and was seeing for the first time. When I emerged from the tunnel, I found myself in a place that defies earthly description. It was the outer courts of heaven. The beauty was overwhelming, colors that don't exist in the physical world, music that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once, and a light that bathed everything in warmth and glory. There itself seemed to with life and joy. What struck me most, though, were the golden threads of light extending from earth to heaven. These threads weren't random, they formed intricate patterns, like a spiritual map connecting the two lands. As I looked closer, I realized they were pathways created by people who were fasting and praying. Each thread represented a connection between heaven and earth, a conduit through which was power and light could flow. Then I heard his voice. Jesus. The moment he spoke, I knew it was him. His voice burst a use heard, it resonated through every fiber of my being, filling me with a love so profound it brought me to tears. Nicole, he said, I brought you here to show you what your eyes are not seen and your ears are not heard. As he spoke, he appeared before me. Words failed to capture his presence. It was both familiar and gloriously beyond anything I had ever imagined. Pure love, authority, and power radiated from him in waves. His eyes held infinite compassion and understanding, and when he looked at me, he felt completely known and completely loved. Watch, he said. In an instant, he was shown a series of visions that revealed the spiritual power of fasting. The first vision showed how fasting affects the spiritual atmosphere. He saw a heavy, dark blanket covering the earth, a representation of spiritual oppression and resistance. When someone began a genuine fast, it was like a chill appeared in that blanket, allowing heaven's light and power to pour through. The longer and more sincere I fast, the larger and brighter the opening became. Many of my children, Jesus explained, do not understand the power they are access to through fasting. When you fast with a full heart, seeking me and my kingdom, you partner with her in ways you cannot imagine. Et then so with me my own fast, the one he had been undertaking when the accent attack. He saw how each day of fasting that strengthens the spiritual channel between you and us. It was like watching a muscle grow stronger with each passing day. My press during the fast carried greater authority and broke through spiritual barriers that could attack and disturb Kamal was. Next, he took me to what he could also of time. There, he saw believers throughout history who had undertaken significant fasts. He saw Moses during his 40-day fast, receiving the 10 Commandments. Now, he could see a spiritual dynamics of what was happening. His fasting had created a space where God's glory could manifest in a way that allowed him to receive it. He saw Daniel during his fasts, how his present sacrifices pushed back dark forces over entire regions. He even saw countless unbelievers whose fasting had shifted the spiritual atmospheres and changed the course of events, though they never knew the full impact of their sacrifices during their lifetimes. Nicole, Jesus said, I'm showing you these things because my church is entering a season where understanding the power of fasting will be crucial. The battles ahead cannot be won through prayer alone. Fasting must be restored to its proper place. In another vision, he saw the incredible power of corporate fasting. When groups of believers fasted together, it created what looked like spiritual storms of power. These storms pushed back darkness over cities and nations, creating opportunities for revival and breakthrough. Jesus emphasized the importance of unity in fasting, saying, corporate fasting generates spiritual momentum that cannot be achieved alone. But not all fasting carried the same weight. Jesus saw with me how fasting done fall all out of religious obligation and almost no spiritual impact. However, fasting done with humility, genuine dependence, and a pure zeal to draw closer to the creative powerful spiritual dynamics. He was tension how fasting transforms us on a spiritual level, almost like rewiring our spiritual DNA. Extended fasting seemed to create new pathways within people, allowing them to operate in greater levels of discernment and authority even after the fast ended. Jesus also revealed the enemy's awareness of fasting's power. He saw how the enemy specifically targets believers during fasting, seeking to distract, discourage, and weaken them. Protection during fasting is crucial, Jesus warned. Stay under the cover of my blood and my word. Do not fast in your own strength but rely on me. As the visions continued, he saw how fasting and prayer impacted spiritual warfare. Believers who fasted appeared to be clothed in additional spiritual armor. Their prayers during fasting were like precision weapons, hitting their targets with remarkable accuracy and power. He also saw how fasting created spiritual reservoirs, storehouses of strength and provision that could be drawn upon in times of trial. Those who embraced a lifestyle of regular fasting had built up reserves that sustained them in ways they couldn't fully understand. One of the most beautiful revelations was how fasting affects worship. During fasting, all worship seemed to carry a unique fragrance in the air, as though the sacrifice of fasting added something precious to our praise. Jesus explained, when my children worship while fasting, it creates harmony with His worship that is especially powerful. As my time in the air was drawing to a close, Jesus looked at me with profound love and tenderness. The times ahead, he said, will require my people to walk in levels of spiritual authority I never known before. Fasting is not optional for the battles that are coming. It is a weapon of spiritual warfare that must be understood and used wisely. Just before everything began to fade, he gave me a final message, tell them that I am calling my church back to biblical fasting. The time is short, and my people must be prepared. Fasting is not about earning my love, they already are it fully. It is about positioning themselves to partner with my purposes in deeper ways. The next thing he knew, he was back in my body, lying in hospital bed. Medical staff surrounded me, their faces a mystery of shock and relief. Not only had he survived, but there was no damage or lasting physical effects. They called it a miracle, and they were right. But they didn't know the half of it. Since that day, my life has been forever changed. Jesus revealed truths that are transformed how he approached fasting, prayer, and my relationship with him. I'm sharing this testimony because I believe it's no accident you're hearing it. Jesus is calling his church back to the power of biblical fasting, not as a religious duty, but as an invitation to partner with him in these crucial times. The question is, will we respond?